In Konoha the opening game plays as Jikuni Yuanichi Chapter 576-600. Chapter 576. Frieza's father really resurrected Frieza. Frieza woke up slowly. His father looked at him. Seeing that Frieza finally woke up, he was very happy. He was a little excited and pretended to be calm, and asked, Frieza, are you awake? Looking at his father, Frieza was still very weak, and he shouted weakly, Father. Seeing this, his father nodded, and he said to Frieza soothingly, Rest well first, you have just been resurrected and are still too weak, so you need to rest before you can recover. Hearing this, Frieza recalled, he still has the memory of the past, but the middle part is blank, just like sleeping. The last memory only goes to when Hitaki Kusuo killed him. When killing him, Hitaki Kusuo also said, See you next time. At that time, Frieza didn't understand what it meant. Now that things have come to this point, Frieza understands what it means. It turns out that Hitaki Kusuo had predicted that he would be resurrected long ago. But Hitaki Kusuo, how did Shang know about this? If he knew that he would be resurrected, then wouldn't it be unnecessary for Kusuo Hitaki to kill him at that time? But on second thought, Kusuo Hitaki did nothing wrong. Should he not kill him or keep him alive? Frieza regained his composure, looked at his father, and said very gratefully but weakly, Father, thank you for resurrecting me. After hearing this, his father smiled. You are my child. If I don't resurrect you, who should I resurrect? After hearing this, Frieza smiled slightly and said nothing. Next, Frieza began to rest. He wanted to get well as soon as possible. Frieza was really unwilling to be defeated before. He had to find a way to become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can he deal with Kusuo Hitaki and the others. Kusuo Hitaki is the most difficult to deal with. It would be great if he could defeat Kusuo Hitaki. And the big ball Rasengan of Son Goku and Raditz is also his mortal enemy. While Frieza was working hard to make himself stronger, Raditz was also not idle. In fact, they came to Earth this time to find the Dragon Ball. However, they have stopped looking. First, they should hurry up and practice, because they believed what Hitaki Kusuo said. Although they found it incredible, Hitaki Kusuo was not the kind of person who would joke. Since he said it so confidently, it is still possible. So, before they officially meet the stronger Frieza, they must also prepare early. Now they should hurry up and practice. The Big Ball Rasengan is Frieza's nemesis. They must practice the Big Ball Rasengan better and use it more freely. In this way, they will be fully prepared to deal with Frieza. I really don't know what the stronger Frieza will look like after resurrection. He was already very powerful the last time. At this moment, Son Goku and Raditz have already practiced. They are taking a break in the middle of the journey. Sitting on the ground, Raditz said to Sun Wukong a little tired and a little out of breath. To be honest, although I don't want to doubt what Hitaki Kusuo said, I always feel that this matter is too far-fetched. Until now, I am confused and feel that it is unlikely, but I believe it a little bit. Sun Wukong, can you understand the feeling in my heart? Seeing this, Sun Wukong nodded and answered. I think I can understand it, but I don't quite understand it, because my mentality is basically the same as yours, and it is also so contradictory. Chapter 577. When Raditz and Sun Wukong were practicing the Big Jade Rasengan, suddenly, Raditz got an inspiration. He stopped and said to Sun Wukong a little excitedly. Sun Wukong, why don't we try to practice it? How about each person making a Big Jade Rasengan alone? Hearing this, Sun Wukong was startled. He saw Raditz come up with this idea. Sun Wukong thought about it. He was very hesitant. Sun Wukong said, Is this feasible? At the beginning, Kusuo Hitaki asked us to cooperate in order to create the Big Ball Rasengan. He didn't tell us to create it alone. Since he said so, there must be a reason. After hearing this, Raditz said with an indifferent attitude. Hey, Son Goku, at the beginning, it was because neither of us knew how to use the Big Ball Rasengan. Now, we can use it. We have the foundation, which is different from the beginning. Besides, all ninjutsu are created. Although we are young, who says that young people can't create? After hearing this, Son Goku suddenly felt that it made sense. He nodded to Raditz with an expression of sudden enlightenment and said, Ah, So that's the case. This is a good statement. Who says we can't create it ourselves? We have to be the one and only one. Raditz was very happy to see that Son Goku had been persuaded by him. He said to Son Goku, "Then don't say anything, let's get started." Hearing this, Sun Wukong nodded. Yes. Then, the two began to practice alone, trying to perform the Rasengan that can only be performed by two people working together as much as possible by one person. However, after all, Hitaki Kusuo is more experienced than them. He must have a reason for asking the two to work together. If the two insist on going against it, they will definitely pay a price. The consequence of practicing like this is that both of their meridians are damaged. At this moment, the two sat on the ground to rest, unable to move, and the meridians in their hands were damaged. They were very hesitant. Sun Wukong said, "Raditz, what do you think? Should we go to Hitaki Kusuo to ask? Let him help us take a look." Because they were practicing privately, they were afraid that Hitaki Kusuo would blame them if they went to Hitaki Kusuo. Raditz listened and hesitated. He was the one who proposed the idea. Now that the situation has become like this, Raditz is the one who feels the most guilty, and the one who has the least face to see Kusuo Hitaki is also Raditz. 0 Please give me flowers. He was upset and didn't know what to do. Just then, Kusuo Hitaki came over and saw the two of them. He asked, "What are you two doing here?" Seeing Kusuo Hitaki, Sun Wukong hesitated a little, but for the sake of his health, he still stretched out his hand and said to Kusuo Hitaki with some guilt. 0. Suo Hitaki, we hurt our meridians. Suo Hitaki was startled when he heard it. Next, Kusuo Hitaki while helping them with treatment and using medical ninjutsu, Kusuo Hitaki listened to their detailed account of what happened. At this moment, Kusuo Hitaki stopped. He had finished the treatment and had listened to their account. Suo Hitaki looked at their wounds and said coldly, "The effect is not ideal." Upon hearing this, Raditz and Son Goku were both stunned and shocked. Huh. Raditz became anxious. After all, the incident was caused by him. No way. What should we do? Son Goku also became anxious. Then we can no longer use the big ball Rasengan in the future. Gong. Chapter 578. Today, the system suddenly prompted that because Frieza was defeated once, the progress bar was unlocked. Suo Hitaki was surprised to hear this news suddenly. He was also very surprised. Suo Hitaki thought depressedly that the system had not prompted until now. Could it be that it was stuck before? He was very depressed. Although he did not understand, it was good news at last. Kusuo Hitaki thought that since Frieza's character card had unlocked 040, he would try to use Frieza's skills. Kusuo Hitaki used the Death Beam. When he successfully sent out the Death Beam, Kusuo Hitaki was surprised to find that he succeeded and could really use Frieza's skills. Kusuo Hitaki was very happy to know this. That's great. When Raditz and Son Goku came to him, Kusuo Hitaki was using the Death Beam to chop wood and cook. Seeing him busy with these, Raditz and Son Goku were a little surprised. The two came over and asked, "Kusuo Hitaki, what are you doing?" Hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki looked at them, smiled and answered, "Chopping wood and cooking. It's been a long time since I did such a leisurely thing, mainly because Kusuo Hitaki wanted to practice the Death Beam, but he couldn't find a target to practice. Chopping wood and cooking is still a good way to practice." When Raditz and Son Goku heard this, they looked at Hitaki Kusuo a little depressed, and they didn't know what to say. Hitaki Kusuo saw that they rarely came to see him, and asked while chopping wood and cooking, "By the way, why are you here?" When it came to this, Raditz and Son Goku sighed, and they were in a low mood. Raditz said, "Hitaki Kusuo, we came to you because of the meridians." Seeing that the two were here for this, Hitaki Kusuo was a little helpless. He continued to do his work and answered, "It's useless to find me. If I can help, I will help you treat it the first time. I couldn't cure it the first time, and I couldn't cure it the second time. I didn't think of a way to cure it." Seeing this, Raditz and Son Goku looked at each other. The two were depressed and unhappy. At this time, Raditz retracted his gaze and muttered in a muffled voice, Is our hand like this? If our hand is like this, we will never be able to fight again. Listening to them complaining to him, Kusuo Hitaki felt uncomfortable. He said to the two of them, "Do you think I want to see you like this? Who disobeyed my orders and acted on your own? I have already said that the Big Ball Rasengan requires the cooperation of two of you to perform it, but you changed the ninjutsu that obviously requires the cooperation of two people to perform it, and you wanted to perform it alone. Now you have come to this point, and you can't blame anyone." Raditz and Son Goku listened, and the two of them didn't say anything. They didn't know what to say. At this point, they admitted that they were indeed wrong, but the matter was a foregone conclusion, and they hoped to save this mistake. Kusuo Hitaki sighed and continued to do his own thing. He said, "You go back, I haven't thought of a way, I'll talk to you when I think of a way." Kusuo Hitaki was telling the truth. He had no idea of a solution now. It was useless for them to stay here. Kusuo Hitaki could only waste time with them. Because it was not that Kusuo Hitaki was unwilling to treat them, but that he had no way to treat them. Seeing this, Son Goku and Raditz had no choice but to leave. They went back. Chapter 579. Kusuo Hitaki was actually quite anxious. Although he did not show it on the surface, he was really worried about Raditz and Son Goku's arm injuries. However, no matter how worried he was, he could not think of a way to treat them. That day, Kusuo Hitaki was sitting there in boredom. He propped up his head, thinking about Raditz and Son Goku, and was upset. Bulma suddenly came to him. After seeing Kusuo Hitaki, Bulma was very surprised. She immediately walked over and said to Kusuo Hitaki, "Kusuo Hitaki." Hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki looked over and looked at Bulma. Seeing that she was so happy, Kusuo Hitaki raised his eyebrows, not knowing why. "What's wrong?" Bulma came closer, she stopped, and said to Kusuo Hitaki happily. "Suo Hitaki, I have thought of a way, but I don't know if it is feasible, but you can try it. It is about treating Raditz and Son Goku's hand meridian injuries." Seeing that it was this matter, Kusuo Hitaki said, "Tell me about it." After listening, Kusuo Hitaki was very surprised, because he felt that what Bulma said made sense, and this method was feasible. Kusuo Hitaki and Bulma went to find Raditz and Son Goku. When they found them, they were sitting in a corner of the yard, staying there sullenly, watching very sad and lost. Hitaki Kusuo saw them and shouted from afar, "Raditz, Son Goku." Hearing this, the two looked up and looked at Hitaki Kusuo. They were stunned and stared at Hitaki Kusuo, not knowing what to say. Hitaki Kusuo walked closer to them and stopped. He looked at the two and said, "I have discussed with Bulma, and we have found a way to treat your hand injuries. However, we are just trying it. As for whether it can be cured, we are not sure." Upon hearing this, Raditz and Son Goku were very surprised. The two looked at each other, and then looked at Hitaki Kusuo in surprise. They nodded and agreed immediately. Okay. Next, Hitaki Kusuo tried it. To be honest, he just had the mentality of giving it a try, and didn't think it would succeed. Of course, if it could succeed, it would naturally be the best. After Hitaki Kusuo tried it, he was surprised to find that it was partially repaired, but it was only partially, not completely repaired. After Hitaki Kusuo stopped, he was generally satisfied with the result, so he said to the two, "Now, your meridians have been partially repaired. You should rest for a while and stop exercising. You must listen to me this time and not do anything else. Otherwise, if the injury gets worse, I can't do anything." The two were very surprised to hear this. Anyway, it's good to be able to repair part of it, so they nodded, and Raditz agreed. "Well, Hitaki Kusuo, don't worry, we won't do anything this time." Seeing this, Hitaki Kusuo nodded with relief. After Hitaki Kusuo left, Raditz said to Sun Wukong. Hitaki Kusuo only said that you can't move your arms, but he didn't say that you can't move your body. From now on, we will only exercise the strength of our bodies. Sun Wukong was surprised when he heard this. Still training. He didn't understand why Raditz was so anxious to train. Even if he was anxious about Frieza's matter, there was no need to work so hard. Raditz answered. Hitaki Kusuo only said that we can't move our arms, but we can move our bodies. Son Goku, let's just train our bodies in the future. Son Goku listened, depressed, and he didn't say anything. Chapter 580. It had been many days since Frieza was resurrected. Frieza felt his condition and felt very strong. Just then, his father came over and Frieza said to him, "I'm going to Earth." Hearing this, his father was a little surprised. Frieza had been training for a while and his condition was very good. However, his father said to him, "Your current combat power is not strong enough. You must wait until you become stronger before you can go to Earth." Seeing this, Frieza was dissatisfied. "I am very strong now, I can go to Earth. I am not strong enough now, so what can I do to be strong?" Looking at the arrogant Frieza, his father reminded him, "It is useless for you to be like this now. You should know that if you are not strong enough, you will be killed by Hitaki Kusuo and others again when you go to Earth. It is impossible for me to revive you again, right?" After hearing this, Frieza was silent. Indeed, he can't be reckless anymore. After a period of peace, he forgot the lesson last time. After calming down, Frieza will feel very guilty. He is a typical person who forgets the pain after the scar heals. Frieza also felt that he was a little impulsive just now. He gave up this idea and looked at his father and asked, "What should we do now?" The father replied, "Continue to stay in the interstellar space, so that we can invade those planets and strengthen our own strength." After hearing this, Frieza said nothing. He just thought of Kusuo Hitaki and the others. Although he had many opponents, the ones that impressed Frieza the most were Kusuo Hitaki and the others. Frieza was unwilling to accept his death in their hands last time. He felt that only by defeating Kusuo Hitaki and the others could he gain recognition for himself. Suo Hitaki should know that he is not dead. He knows that he will be resurrected. So, during this period of time, Frieza was desperately strengthening himself. He was also very curious whether Kusuo Hitaki and the others were also desperately strengthening themselves to deal with his accountability. Because Kusuo Hitaki must have thought that when he was resurrected, he would definitely seek revenge on them. Unfortunately, all this was up to Frieza to guess. He didn't see the changes of Kusuo Hitaki and the others with his own eyes, and he felt uneasy, because he didn't know what are Kusuo Hitaki and the others doing. "I really look forward to the day when I meet them. It is for revenge." At the same time, he only has this one enemy in his eyes. Frieza feels that the other enemies are not worthy of his attention at all and he cannot remember them. Next time they meet, Frieza will definitely do it to make Kusuo Hitaki and the others look at him with new eyes. Because he will definitely practice to be the strongest. Then, he will kill Kusuo Hitaki and the others with one blow. He will also repay them for the humiliation they inflicted on him that day. Thinking of the humiliation he suffered that day, Frieza's heart was filled with hatred. He wanted to kill Kusuo Hitaki and the others. Only in this way can he relieve his anger. Otherwise, he will keep this breath in his heart and can't swallow it. Looking at Frieza like this, his father knew that he was thinking things. Father comforted him. Okay, don't think too much, let's practice for a while and then go to Earth. Hearing this, Frieza nodded. Although I really want to do it now, some things can only be endured. Only by enduring can we wait for a better tomorrow. Chapter 581. The treatment method that Bulma mentioned is effective. It can repair part of the meridians each time. Although it can only repair part at a time, as long as the number of times accumulates, it can completely heal the meridians of Son Goku and the others through this method. At this moment, after several treatments, Hitaki Kusuo completely repaired the last time, and Hitaki Kusuo stopped. Looking at the two, Hitaki Kusuo smiled. He was in a good mood. It's cured. Hearing this, the two were very happy. They immediately moved their arms, and then found that, like normal, they would not feel pain when they moved their arms again. Seeing that it was really cured, Sun Wukong and Raditz were very happy. The two looked at each other and smiled. That's great. Seeing them so happy, Hitaki Kusuo smiled, and his heart was comforted. Finally, their meridians were cured, and this worry was finally eradicated. Rades looked at Sun Wukong and said, "Now, we can finally practice again." Hitaki Kusuo listened, but didn't say anything, and didn't stop them, because their meridians had been cured, and it was okay to resume practice. Besides, if they didn't hurry up, they might be surpassed by Frieza. So, it's time to hurry up and practice. This time, both of them learned a little bit smarter and didn't act privately. Raditz looked at Hitaki Kusuo and asked for his opinion. "Hitaki Kusuo, can we practice again now?" Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo nodded and allowed them. "Okay." Seeing this, Raditz breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled and nodded. "Yeah." Next, Raditz and Son Goku started practicing again. They thought that they had found a way to cure their meridians. Then, other things should also be fine. But unfortunately, Raditz and Son Goku tried, but failed. They still couldn't succeed. They were very depressed by the feeling of failure. At this moment, they were sitting aside and discussing this matter. Raditz asked, "What should we do now? Our meridians have been cured, but we still can't succeed. I dare not tell Hitaki Kusuo about this, for fear that he will be disappointed." Son Goku listened and was also very negative. He sighed and said in a bad mood, "I don't know what to do either. I feel that troubles are really one after another, and none of them are good." Raditz didn't say anything. At this time, Raditz seemed to have thought of something. He raised his eyebrows and said to Sun Wukong, "Hey, let's change the strategy a little bit and combine Kamehameha and Rasengan. Do you think this method will work?" Kameha. Rasengan. Sun Wukong was obviously surprised after hearing this. He thought about it and reminded him hesitantly. "Isn't this equivalent to a new ninjutsu?" Seeing that he was always worried about this, Raditz answered, "Yes, but this is not as difficult as the previous one, Sun Wukong, maybe we can try it. It's because we have no other way. We have been failing in practicing that, and we can't find the point of failure. What else do you think we can do besides practicing new ninjutsu?" After listening to this, Sun Wukong didn't say anything. He was just thinking about this silently. Is it feasible? No, it seems that there is no other way. Chapter 582. Son Gohan saw Raditz and the others practicing so hard, but he was idle and could not help much. Everyone was preparing for the battle. However, he was the only one idle. So, Son Gohan felt very unhappy, and he could only practice secretly every day, hoping to help. Today, when Son Gohan was practicing secretly again, he was just seen by Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi was surprised to see Son Gohan practicing secretly alone. Chi-Chi stood there silently for a while, then she came over and called someone. Son Gohan. Hearing this, Son Gohan stopped. He turned around and saw Chi-Chi. Son Gohan was stunned. Chi-Chi came close, she squatted down, looked at Son Gohan, and asked, "Son Gohan, what are you doing?" Hearing this, Son Gohan lowered his head sullenly and said nothing. Chi-Chi was a little surprised to see him like this. She asked, "Are you practicing?" Son Gohan said in a low voice with his head down, "I feel that everyone is preparing for the battle, and I am the only one who has nothing to do. I feel that I can't help. Chi-Chi, I really want to help." Son Gohan looked up, looked at her, and said so. After hearing this, Chi-Chi was stunned, and then she was a little moved and felt sorry for Son Gohan. He is such a good boy, a sensible child. Chi-Chi thought for a while, then she smiled and said, "Son Gohan, how about this? I will ask for you, see if Hitaki Kusuo can teach you." Son Gohan was very surprised when he heard it. He looked at Chi-Chi in shock, but after responding, he asked in surprise, his face full of joy. "Really?" Chi-Chi looked at him so happy, she smiled and nodded immediately. "Really?" Seeing this, Son Gohan was really happy. He said to Chi-Chi excitedly, "Chi-Chi, thank you." After hearing this, Chi-Chi smiled, said nothing, thinking about how to tell Hitaki Kusuo later. After leaving Son Gohan, Chi-Chi went to find Hitaki Kusuo. To be honest, along the way, Her steps were not fast, but a little slow. She lowered her head, because she was thinking, what should she say when she saw Hitaki Kusuo? While Chi-Chi was thinking about this question, she also found Hitaki Kusuo. Seeing him, Chi-Chi hesitated a little. However, she hesitated and still called out, Hitaki Kusuo. Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo looked over, saw that it was Chi-Chi. Hitaki Kusuo raised his eyebrows. He asked calmly, request flowers, Chi-Chi. Is there something wrong? Chi-Chi didn't say anything. She came closer and hesitated to organize her words. Looking at her like that, Hitaki Kusuo knew that she had something to say, but she didn't know how to say it. He waited. At this time, Chi-Chi seemed to have organized her words, and she said it. 0 inches actually, it's like this, Hitaki Kusuo. Son Gohan has always wanted to participate in the battle, otherwise he feels useless, so can you teach him? Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo was stunned. He thought about it silently for a while. Hitaki Kusuo was still very hesitant, and he reminded him. But Son Gohan is too young. At his age, he shouldn't think so much. Living happily is the best thing to do. Chi-Chi frowned and answered. I know, but Son Gohan seems to be very persistent. I can see his determination. Hitaki Kusuo didn't say anything when he heard this. Hitaki Kusuo was very hesitant. He really didn't want to agree, but in this situation, it seemed that he had to agree. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Chi-Chi and compromised with a sigh. Okay. Work. Chapter 583. Hitaki Kusuo agreed to Chi-Chi, so he started training Son Gohan. Hitaki Kusuo made a daily exercise plan for Son Gohan. What surprised him was that Son Gohan actually completed it very seriously, which was beyond Hitaki Kusuo's expectation. He thought that Son Gohan could not last for 2 days. Because, a day of training is very hard. If you can persist for more than 2 days, it proves that this person is persistent. While Son Gohan was exercising, Hitaki Kusuo was watching from the side. Overall, he was still very satisfied. Although Son Gohan is young, he has lived up to his own expectations of him, and has not lived up to his original intentions at the beginning. Many people have been training. Maybe at the beginning, it was his own request, but if he persists, he will forget his original intention and can't persist. At this point in the training, Son Gohan took a break. He stopped. Seeing that Hitaki Kusuo was there, Son Gohan was very happy. He took the initiative to come over and ask Hitaki Kusuo. How is it? Am I still holding on? To this, Hitaki Kusuo nodded, in a good mood, and he was quite satisfied with Son Gohan, saying, Well, not bad, Son Gohan, I didn't expect you to have such willpower, which is rare. You have something that others don't have, willpower, which many people don't have. It's such a simple thing, but others just can't do it. After hearing this, Son Gohan was very happy. He smiled and said nothing. Kusuo Hitaki also smiled. It seemed that he would not regret agreeing to Chi-Chi. Kusuo Hitaki was very cautious about agreeing to other people's things because he was afraid of disappointment and regret. On the other hand, Goku and Raditz were not idle either. The two of them had a new invention recently. Last time, they did transform into Saiyans. Although they did not master the technique, Goku and Raditz figured out that perhaps they could find the trick by recalling this incident and this process. Perhaps, it could really work. And the method was right for the two of them. This method could indeed allow the two of them to suddenly transform into Saiyans in very rare cases. However, once they changed back to their original appearance, they would not be able to transform into Saiyans again. In other words, the method was right 0. But they did not find the trick, did not grasp that point, so the transformation under this method would appear very unstable. In other words, it was random. This won't work. Now it can be random, but if you want to transform into a Saiyan but can't during the battle, isn't that a recipe for death? So, now they have to practice this stability. The two were tired and sat aside to rest. Thinking about this, Raditz sighed and said depressedly, I didn't expect it to be so difficult to practice this stability. Sun Wukong also nodded. He sighed. Well, it seems that there is something to practice. I hope Frieza won't show up so soon. We can wait a little longer until we find that feeling and practice stability. Rades didn't say anything. It would be great if things were so perfect, but unfortunately, it's impossible. Frieza will not wait for them, they can only buy time and seize the time. Raditz sighed softly and thought about things silently. For a while, the two did not talk again. There are many things to worry about every day. It seems that this is life. Chapter 584. Frieza is not idle either. Recently, Frieza has set his sights on a planet similar to the Earth. It is precisely because it is similar to the Earth that Frieza has set his sights on it. If it is not similar to the Earth, then Frieza's attention may not be attracted by it. After all, there are so many planets that catch his eye. Frieza wants to attack this planet. He originally thought that this was not a difficult task and should be easy, but many things are like this. It seems easy but difficult to do. When Frieza attacked this planet, he encountered strong resistance from the residents of the planet. It made his attack a little difficult. At least, it was not in line with the original plan. 06 Seeing the strong resistance of the planet's residents, Frieza's fighting spirit was aroused. The stronger the resistance of the planet's residents, the more Frieza wanted to attack this planet. In a certain sense, it was because it was similar to the Earth. Therefore, when Frieza attacked it, he attacked it as if it were the Earth, so as to relieve his anger. After all, his father did not allow him to go to the Earth now. But he needed a target to vent the anger in his heart. It just happened that this planet was unlucky, similar to the Earth. It became his target for venting. Everything can only be counted as bad luck. Other planets were not attacked by him because they just happened not to be unlucky, that's all. Because the residents of the planet resisted strongly. Therefore, it is not easy to conquer this planet, and it also takes time and energy. Frieza's all energy and all time have been devoted to this matter recently. He devoted himself to studying this planet. Frieza is already competing with it. If he doesn't break this planet, he won't do the next thing. He is stuck here. He thinks so in his heart. Frieza is very persistent, but the planet residents are also very persistent. After all, in Frieza's view, he only attacked one of the planets. He has too many planets waiting to be attacked. But for the planet residents, Frieza's attack is tantamount to a catastrophe for them, so they use all their vitality to resist this matter. But in the end, Frieza is still stronger. Amid the cries of the planet residents, they still unfortunately go to extinction, because Frieza finally completely destroyed this planet. The residents on the planet naturally do not exist. Watching the destruction of the planet, Frieza breathed a sigh of relief. Although he destroyed the planet, Frieza himself was not much better. Because he was injured. He destroyed the planet, but was also injured by the inhabitants of the planet, so Frieza could not be considered completely without any loss. Looking at the injuries on his body, Frieza knew that he needed to recover. However, watching the destruction of this planet similar to the Earth, Frieza was still very happy. He had a feeling in his heart, as if he was destroying the Earth. It was also a kind of psychological comfort. Then, Frieza went back to recover. When he first thought of attacking the planet, he really didn't expect that he would be injured. It seems that he will have to recover for a long time. After Frieza went back, he lay in bed. Although his body was damaged, it seemed good to think that he could destroy the planet. Chapter 585. Frieza didn't expect that one day, a doctor would come to him, and he was quite mysterious and refused to tell him everything in the past. The doctor said to Frieza, "Frieza, I can make you more powerful, do you want to try?" Hearing this, Frieza looked at the doctor. He was dressed like a doctor. Frieza asked him, "You really don't want to tell me about your past?" The doctor smiled and he answered, "You only need to know that I am here to help you, and I am also a bit capable, that's all, you don't need to know anything else." Seeing this, Frieza became curious about the doctor. He trusted him a little because of this. After all, mysterious people often have some real skills. Frieza asked him, "Okay, do you have any way to make me more powerful?" The doctor looked at Frieza's body, he glanced up and down, then looked at Frieza and answered, "I want to have surgery, are you willing?" Frieza was surprised to hear this. He had rarely heard that surgery was needed to become stronger. Frieza was even more surprised. He looked at the doctor, not quite understanding, and asked, "Surgery? How?" The doctor replied, "It's very simple. I need to change your tail and the armor on your body to a more advanced alloy metal. This way, your combat power can be doubled." Frieza was surprised to hear this. He didn't expect that Frieza would hesitate to operate on his body. The doctor could also see that Frieza was hesitating. Seeing this, the doctor said, "Don't worry, the risk of surgery is very low, there is no need to worry at all." Frieza listened and still hesitated. Injury is injury, surgery is surgery, injury is a situation that cannot be helped, but taking the initiative to have surgery is another matter. The doctor waited for a while, he was waiting for Frieza to think. At this time, seeing that he had waited for a long time, Frieza still hadn't given an answer, the doctor took the initiative to ask him, "What do you think? Frieza, do you want to consider it?" Hearing this, Frieza looked at the doctor with a complicated expression, and he asked again, "Are you sure that the surgery is really risk-free?" The doctor shook his head and answered confidently, "There will be no risk, you can rest assured, it is absolutely safe." Seeing the doctor say this, Frieza suddenly spoke firmly. "Okay, then let's do the surgery." The doctor could see that Frieza seemed to have a desperate feeling, the kind that was willing to risk everything. However, he really wanted to say that he could rest assured that his surgery was absolutely safe and would not go wrong. Frieza agreed. Next, the doctor performed surgery on Frieza. He changed Frieza's tail and armor into more advanced alloy metals. Frieza took a nap and then woke up to beg. After waking up, the doctor had completed the surgery. Seeing this, Frieza asked in shock, "Is it good?" Finished. The doctor nodded and smiled. "Well, it's finished. From now on, your combat power will double. You just need to heal your wounds. You don't have to worry about anything else." After hearing this, Frieza didn't say a word. He was very satisfied with the effect after the wounds healed. He was in a good mood and looked forward to it. He hoped that the doctor could really bring him a miracle. Although he didn't know why this unknown doctor wanted to help him like this. Chapter 586. Recently, Kusuo Hatake has been exercising, and he insists on exercising every day. He is exercising and trying to use his various task cards to perform combined attacks. Suo Hatake hopes to achieve the maximum attack effect. However, he has exercised. After persisting for several days, Kusuo Hatake is still not satisfied. Because it takes time to change character cards. It is because of this time that he is stuck there, resulting in inconsistent movements, which cannot meet Kusuo Hatake's satisfaction. The level he wants to achieve is extremely consistent, with several movements as smooth as one movement. Suo Hatake stopped because he couldn't practice anymore. He sat aside to rest. At this time, Raditz happened to pass by and saw this scene. He saw Kusuo Hatake sitting there alone, and he seemed to be in a bad mood. Raditz stopped and stood there thinking. Then Raditz came over. He asked as he walked towards Kusuo Hatake. "Suo Hatake, what are you doing?" Hearing this, Kusuo Hatake looked over and saw Raditz. His heart moved. He looked at Raditz silently without saying anything. Raditz came to his side and he sat down. Suo Hatake had already withdrawn his sight. He looked ahead quietly and remained silent. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Raditz saw that Kusuo Hatake was in a bad mood. Seeing this, he took the initiative to ask. "Suo Hatake, what's wrong? Did something happen?" In fact, Kusuo Hatake really didn't want to say it. After all, Raditz and the others had problems that they couldn't solve. If he said anything more, it would only make Raditz and the others feel worse. But Kusuo Hatake was also feeling bad. At this time, he needed someone to talk to. Suo Hatake sighed first and answered depressedly. "I want to train myself and use various mission cards to perform combined attacks in order to achieve the maximum attack effect. However, it takes time to convert character cards. Now, I am stuck at this point and can't make any progress. I haven't thought of a solution." After hearing this, Raditz was surprised. He thought about it and wanted to say something, but he wanted to say the solution, but he didn't think of a solution. Rades was very depressed. He sighed and muffled. I don't know how to help you either, because Sun Wukong and I have our own troubles. Hitaki Kusuo listened, and he knew it. So, he didn't expect Raditz to help him. He was just depressed and wanted to find someone to talk to. Hitaki Kusuo sighed. Everyone has their own troubles. This is normal. We can't do anything. We can only find ways to solve our own troubles. Raditz listened and didn't say anything. He didn't know what to say. I just feel that life is sometimes too bitter. There are many things to worry about. Even if I solve this problem today, new problems will arise tomorrow to bother me. It seems like there is no end. As long as I live, these troubles will inevitably follow. The two sat there quietly, without talking to each other. Perhaps, silent companionship is the best. Hitaki Kusuo lowered his head. He was in a very low mood and couldn't be happy. There was really no place to talk about the feeling in my heart. It was very depressing. Moreover, I could only suppress it by myself. There was no one to talk to, and no one could help me solve this kind of trouble. Alas, life is really unsatisfactory. For a while, it was very peaceful here. Quiet. Chapter 587. Today, something unexpected happened. That is, Yamcha and Bulma quarreled, and the cause of the quarrel was a small matter, a very small matter. Even Hitaki Kusuo felt that there was no need to quarrel over such a small matter. For such a small matter, if everyone gave in, there would be no quarrel. But they quarreled anyway, there was nothing they could do. After the quarrel, Chi-Chi persuaded Bulma, and Son Goku persuaded Yamcha, one persuading the other. Raditz didn't persuade anyone. He was annoyed just by seeing such a situation, and Raditz said very annoyed. Women are troublesome, and love is useless. It's best not to fall in love with women, otherwise you will be annoyed to death. Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo looked at him in surprise. I didn't expect Raditz to say such a thing. If he remembered correctly, Raditz would marry Bulma in the future, right? Therefore, no one can predict the future. Maybe you dislike it now, but you will change your mind in the future. Love is always great. No matter how much everyone dislikes love in their hearts, once they fall in love, they will fall into that atmosphere until, ask what love is in the world, and let people live and die together. Hitaki Kusuo smiled and shook his head with a smile. Raditz didn't understand it now, but he would understand it in the future. Raditz saw Hitaki Kusuo laughing there, and he didn't know why, so Raditz asked him. Hitaki Kusuo, what are you laughing at? Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo looked at Raditz, he smiled and answered. I'm not laughing at anything, I'm just laughing at what you said just now. It's so funny, Raditz, you said, women are troubles, love is useless. Raditz listened, silent, and didn't say anything. Hitaki Kusuo said. Then will you fall in love with someone else? As soon as he heard it, Raditz reacted greatly, and he answered immediately, and it was still very firm. Of course I won't fall in love with anyone. Women are so troublesome, how could I possibly fall in love with anyone? Besides, love is useless. You can't eat it, and it can't enhance your strength. I really don't know what those who are in love and can't extricate themselves think. The more Hitaki Kusuo heard him say this, the harder he laughed. After Raditz finished speaking, he was really annoyed to see Hitaki Kusuo laughing like this, and asked angrily. What are you laughing at? What's so funny? Zero, please give me flowers. Hitaki Kusuo finally stopped laughing a little when he saw that he was angry, and he answered. Raditz, if you say that, you'd better not fall in love with anyone in the future, really, otherwise, you will be too embarrassed. When Raditz heard this, he was angry, and he answered angrily. I've said it before, I won't fall in love with anyone. Here, I promise you that I will never fall in love with anyone. If I do, I will. 0. He wanted to make a promise, swear a poisonous oath, but he didn't know what to do to fulfill this promise. Hitaki Kusuo was not curious about the oath he made, because he knew that Raditz would slap him in the face in the future. Hitaki Kusuo smiled and said to Raditz. Radies, believe me, so many people before you can't escape the web of love. Even you may not be able to escape. You will definitely fall into the web of love and can't get out of it. When Raditz heard this, he looked at Hitaki Kusuo in a daze. At that moment, he didn't say a word. Hitaki Kusuo seemed very sure. Raditz believed that Hitaki Kusuo would keep his word. Work. Chapter 588. When everyone was practicing hard, Chi-Chi was not idle either. She felt bad because she couldn't help in the previous battle. Chi-Chi didn't want to be a useless person in the team. So, she was secretly training privately, using the chakra flashlight to practice medical ninjutsu. Fortunately, Chi-Chi's efforts were fruitful. With her daily persistence, Chi-Chi's technique gradually became more proficient. She also studied with Bull-Ren Senma, using modern technology to melt some fast treatment methods of medical ninjutsu. This greatly improved the speed. In treatment, seizing time is the most important thing. At this moment, Chi-Chi and Bulma were a little tired after the exercise and were sitting down to rest. Chi-Chi sighed. She said in a good mood. That's great. We are doing well now. I hope that our medical ninjutsu can become stronger and help Hitaki Kusuo and others. Hearing this, Bulma smiled slightly. She nodded. Yeah. Bulma sighed again. Now, everyone is preparing to fight Frieza. I really don't know when I can see Frieza again. I am a little bit looking forward to seeing him soon, and a little bit looking forward to not seeing him so soon, because we are not ready yet. This is really a contradictory psychology. After hearing this, Chi-Chi blinked slightly and she didn't say anything. Everything she did was, of course, to fight Frieza, but it was not the main reason, because even for herself, it was necessary to improve medical ninjutsu. Chi-Chi lowered her head and remained silent. Seeing her like this, Bulma asked in confusion. What's wrong with you? What are you thinking about? However, Chi-Chi sighed, she didn't want to say anything, and answered. Nothing. Seeing that Chi-Chi was keeping everything in her heart, Bulma said to her. Chi-Chi, just say it out loud, don't keep it in your heart. If you keep it in your heart, I don't know, how can I know what you are thinking? In this way, I can't help you solve it, right? After hearing this, Chi-Chi smiled slightly. She looked at Bulma helplessly and answered. Forget it, even if you say it out, you can't help me solve it, really. Bulma was stunned when she heard it. She seemed puzzled and asked Zero. How could it be? As long as you say it out, I can help you solve it, Chi-Chi, although I can't help you solve all of them, but you try to say something easier and less troublesome, so that I can see if I can help you solve it. Chi-Chi was quite speechless when she heard this. There are really not many people who can meet her requirements. Chi-Chi thought about it, shook her head, she didn't want to say anything, and answered. Forget it, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to do anything, Bulma, you don't need to do anything. Just like this, just accompany me quietly, I will be very grateful to you. Bulma listened and felt depressed. She wanted to say something else, but after thinking about it, she didn't say anything in the end, just quietly accompanied Chi-Chi. Maybe Chi-Chi has a lot of troubles. And those troubles are still very difficult to solve, so she can't help. In this case, the only way to solve these problems is to accompany silently. At least, it can also give Chi-Chi a little spiritual motivation. The two sat there quietly, not talking to each other, accompanying each other silently. Chapter 589. Hitaki Kusuo is busy. In fact, he is not particularly busy, but he is not particularly busy, so he is not the kind of person who is bored. At this time, the dragon appeared. Kusuo Hitaki felt it, and he turned around to see the dragon hovering slightly above the ground. It looked at Kusuo Hitaki and said, I'm so bored, Kusuo Hitaki, come and chat with me. Hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki's heart moved. He looked at the dragon speechlessly and answered. But I'm not free now, I'm busy. After hearing this, the dragon replied arrogantly. Then put down what you are doing and come and chat with me. Seeing this, Kusuo Hitaki was really speechless. He was hesitating whether to give up his original plan for the dragon. After thinking about it, Kusuo Hitaki decided to make do with the dragon. There will be things to find the dragon in the future. And the things in hand are the kind that can be done or not. It's not important. Put it down and do it after accompanying the dragon. Suo Hitaki agreed to him. Well, since you are so bored, I will release a clone to fight with you. What do you think? I can still continue to do my work. The more Hitaki Kusuo talked, the more he thought this was a good idea. He was unwilling to put down his work in the end. Shenlong wanted to refuse after hearing this. He felt that letting a clone fight with him was a bit insulting. However, he was the one who came to find Hitaki Kusuo and delayed his time. So, he changed his mind and accommodated Hitaki Kusuo. Shenlong agreed. Okay, let's do it. Hitaki Kusuo smiled when he saw Shenlong agreed. Next, Hitaki Kusuo released his clone, and then the clone began to fight with Shenlong, and he watched from the side. The battle was quite exciting. Hitaki Kusuo was originally planning to let the clone fight with Shenlong and continue to do his previous work. However, the battle was too exciting. Once Kusuo Hitaki saw it, he couldn't stop. He really didn't have time to do what he did before. He just wanted to continue watching. He was very curious about the final outcome of this battle. Although he knew in his heart that Shenlong would definitely win. But the current clone was quite effective in fighting, and Kusuo Hitaki also had a little expectation that the clone could beat Shenlong. Although he knew that this expectation was simply a fantasy. But as long as things are not in the past, they can change at any time, and there may be a reversal at any time. The clone and Shenlong have been fighting. At this time, after fighting for a long time, the clone was finally scratched by Shenlong's claws. The clone died, and Shenlong became the winner. After Shenlong won, he was very happy. Kusuo Hitaki looked at it and smiled, proudly, and he curled his lips slightly. Although the clone died, the experience of fighting with Shenlong just now was transmitted back to the original body. So, Kusuo Hitaki did not gain any benefit. The dragon looked at Kusuo Hitaki and said firmly. You lost. Hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki nodded calmly and answered. Yes, are you satisfied now? The dragon was speechless by Kusuo Hitaki's question. He thought about it and felt that he was not so bored anymore. His empty heart was satisfied. The dragon let Kusuo Hitaki go. He sighed. Okay, I'm leaving. Thank you for your company. With that, the dragon flew away and disappeared. Chapter 590. On a very ordinary day, Kusuo Hitaki suddenly realized a new ninjutsu. He put the turtle, the Qigong and the great fireball technique were combined to launch a bigger attack, and then connected with Frieza's Nova attack. Hitaki Kusuo succeeded. However, this was just his misunderstanding. Whether it was a success or not, Hitaki Kusuo felt that there must be a fighting object to perform this new ninjutsu and fight it, so as to experience its excellence and flaws. Hitaki Kusuo thought of the Shenlong he had just fought not long ago. Only by fighting with the Shenlong can we tell the strength of this new ninjutsu, otherwise, the opponent is not strong enough and it cannot be tested at all. However, it is not an easy task to find the Shenlong. Hitaki Kusuo was troubled by this matter. He stayed there depressed, thinking about this matter. It was uncertain when the Shenlong would appear, so now he had become troubled by finding the Shenlong. Last time he didn't want to find it, it appeared by itself. Now he wants to find it, but it doesn't appear. Kusuo Hitaki was upset, and now he was upset about this matter, so he didn't want to do anything. Just then, Shenlong suddenly appeared. When Kusuo Hitaki felt it, he was immediately shocked and turned back, then he saw Shenlong. The moment he saw it, Kusuo Hitaki was surprised. I really didn't expect it to appear again. This is so rare. The Shenlong looked at Kusuo Hitaki and said in a good mood. I felt very good when I asked you to fight last time, so I decided that it would be a good choice to come and fight with you from time to time when I have time in the future. Kusuo Hitaki, are you free this time? Hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki smiled slightly. He was in a good mood and answered. I have it, Shenlong, it's just right. I recently realized a new ninjutsu, and I was worried that no one would practice with me. Shenlong, you came at the right time, I'm waiting for you. Seeing that Kusuo Hitaki used him to try his new ninjutsu, Shenlong raised his eyebrows. Although he felt unhappy, he didn't say anything. Shenlong answered expectantly. Okay, then come on, I also want to see how far you can progress in such a short time. After all, you were really weak last time. Last time, although they also fought. But in the end, Shenlong broke the clone in one go, so he didn't fight to his heart's content. When Kusuo Hitaki saw Shenlong say this, he curled his lips slightly. Not only Shenlong, but Kusuo Hitaki also wanted to know how powerful this new ninjutsu was. We'll know later, and we'll know once we try it. Kusuo Hitaki immediately released a clone. Then, this clone took Kusuo Hitaki's new ninjutsu and went to fight Shenlong. This time, the battle was more intense. Fierce begging. Hitaki Kusuo looked at the battle situation, and he was also very thrilling. Unexpectedly, this new ninjutsu is really useful. Because Hitaki Kusuo also watched the last battle, there will be a comparison between the two. Obviously, this time the clone is more powerful. It seems that his direction is right. Good, he is making progress. Hitaki Kusuo is very satisfied with this effect. After all, he realized this new ninjutsu in a very ordinary day, and did not deliberately spend time to study it. It is of course very good to study a new ninjutsu so easily. The dragon in the battle also felt that this clone was more difficult to deal with than the last clone. Unexpectedly, Hitaki Kusuo can really achieve such progress in such a short time. Chapter 591. Now, Son Gohan has learned all the previous teachings, and he began to learn Kamehameha. However, he encountered a problem. Whether it is Hitaki Kusuo or others, no one has Hitaki Kusuo thought about it and decided to ask Master Kame to teach him in person. Fortunately, when Hitaki Kusuo asked Master Kame was also free. Today, Hitaki Kusuo brought Master Kame, who had just arrived, to see Son Gohan. The two walked into the yard and saw Son Gohan, who was practicing the ninjutsu he had learned before. Hitaki Kusuo and Master Kame stood together. Seeing Son Gohan, Hitaki Kusuo and Master Kame walked over and called him Son Gohan. Hearing this, Son Gohan stopped and looked over. When he saw the two, Son Gohan was very happy, and Hitaki Kusuo had already called him. Come here. Seeing this, Son Gohan ran over happily. When he got closer, Son Gohan stopped and looked at the two people excitedly, knowing that this was the Master Kame that Hitaki Kusuo had mentioned before and invited for him. Hitaki Kusuo introduced to Son Gohan. Son Gohan, this is the Master Kame I told you about. From now on, he will teach you Kamehameha. As he said, Hitaki Kusuo looked at Master Kame and introduced him in the same way. Master Kame, he is the Son Gohan I told you about. From now on, you will teach him Kamehameha. Hearing this, Master Kame looked at Son Gohan. Son Gohan also looked at him with a face full of expectations. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Son Gohan and said with a smile. Son Gohan, from now on, you should follow Master Kame to learn Kamehameha. This is the teacher I invited for you with great difficulty. You must take it seriously and work hard. Son Gohan was very happy when he heard it, and he agreed immediately. Yes, don't worry, Hitaki Kusuo, I will definitely work hard and live up to your expectations. Seeing this, Hitaki Kusuo was also very happy and smiled. After hearing this, Master Kame was also in a good mood. Not bad, nodded, and said to Son Gohan. Okay, I will teach you well in the future. Son Goku also learned from me back then. It depends on whether you can surpass Son Goku. Son Gohan listened, full of confidence, and said nothing. Next, Master Kame started teaching. Hitaki Kusuo didn't have so much time to supervise every day, he could only go and see when he was free. Today, Hitaki Kusuo happened to be free. Son Gohan also learned for 2 or 3 days, I wonder how the effect is. Hitaki Kusuo decided to come and see. After he came, he stood aside and watched. Master Kame was teaching Son Gohan, and the two looked very serious. Hitaki Kusuo was very pleased to see this scene. Great! First of all, no matter how you learn, the most important thing is to have a correct attitude. Master Kame noticed Hitaki Kusuo. He came over. Hitaki Kusuo saw him, smiled slightly, and took the initiative to care. How is it? How is Son Gohan learning? After Master Kame arrived, he stood beside Kusuo Hitaki and watched Gohan's practice with him. Master Kame smiled slightly and answered in a good mood. Very good, I found that he is particularly talented, even better than Goku back then. As long as he continues to practice in this way, he will definitely surpass Goku in the future. The two did not deliberately lower their voices, so Gohan, who was practicing, could hear their conversation. Gohan was very proud to see Master Kame evaluate him like this. He was very happy. Chapter 592. One day, Kusuo Hitaki accidentally discovered that Bulma and Chi-Chi had jointly developed a new medical ninjutsu. Kusuo Hitaki felt very comforted by this. He took the initiative to call the two together and praised them. Chi-Chi, Bulma, I already know that you have developed a new medical ninjutsu. You two have done a great job. Keep up the hard work and keep going. The two were very happy to hear this. Chi-Chi said immediately. Hitaki Kusuo, in fact, we can also strengthen ourselves through modern technology, for example, making armor to strengthen our own defense. Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo raised his eyebrows. He didn't quite understand. After all, Chi-Chi just said that he hadn't seen the real thing yet and couldn't imagine what it looked like. Hitaki Kusuo agreed to Chi-Chi. Okay, you guys go ahead and do it. I strongly support you in researching new results. Hearing this, Chi-Chi and Bulma were very happy. After all, what they did was supported, which was very important. If Hitaki Kusuo didn't understand and they opposed it, it would be very bad. Chi-Chi took the initiative to ask about Son Gohan. I heard that Son Gohan has been learning Kamehameha from Master Kame recently. Seeing Chi-Chi take the initiative to ask about this, Hitaki Kusuo nodded. He answered. Well, yes, I invited Master Kame. Aren't all of you busy? I'm busy too, so I can only invite Master Kame. However, according to Master Kame's evaluation, it seems that Son Gohan has learned well. Master Kame even said that he is very talented. Seeing this, Chi-Chi was very happy and she couldn't help but sigh. That's great. Seeing the two of them so happy, Hitaki Kusuo also smiled and sighed. Well, it's very good. Everything seems to be developing in a good way. It seems that we don't have to worry about Frieza's arrival. When Frieza was mentioned, Chi-Chi and Bulma were stunned. Thinking of Frieza, Bulma sighed. You always say that he will be resurrected and we will meet him sooner or later, but it has been so long and we seem to have never met him. I really don't know when we can meet him. Seeing this, Hitaki Kusuo looked over. He smiled slightly and answered. We will meet sooner or later. Now is not the time yet. Even if we meet now, are you ready? Although each of us is preparing, it is all the preparation stage, not the result after preparation. Zero, please give flowers. Bulma listened and thought so. If they meet Frieza now, they may not be able to deal with him. Chi-Chi asked worriedly. Hitaki Kusuo, how powerful will Frieza be after he is resurrected? 0. Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo thought about this question. He sighed and shook his head. I don't know. I can't calculate this. I only know that after Frieza is resurrected, he will definitely have more resentment. Those hatreds are enough to make him stronger, so we should be careful to deal with it. Seeing this, Chi-Chi and Bulma didn't say anything. The two didn't know what to say, but they were worried in their hearts. One day without seeing Frieza, one day, they felt uneasy. They are getting stronger, but Frieza will definitely think of this. He will definitely get stronger too. It is actually quite torturous to have each other strengthened without any real comparison, because it is hard to estimate the strength of the other party. Work. Chapter 593. With the support of Kusuo Hitaki, Chi-Chi and Bulma put more energy into this matter. Even Bulma brought a new type of metal from her family's company. After testing, Bulma found that the defense was amazing. After Kusuo Hitaki learned about this, he took the initiative to said to Bulma. Bulma, make more and make protective armor. Hearing this, Bulma nodded. She made more than 0.47. However, even if Bulma had the intention, the reality was powerless. The company at home had a limited amount of new metal. Bulma got all of them, but the quantity was still not much. At this moment, Kusuo Hitaki and others all gathered together. Looking at these finished protective armors, Bulma felt a little regretful. There are only so many. I have tried my best. Hearing this, Kusuo Hitaki did not say anything. He thought about it, and then spoke. The number of protective armors is limited, so they must be used reasonably. Some people with strong combat power should not use them. These armors are only distributed to people with weak combat power, so I decided to give them to Yamcha and Krillin. Kusuo Hitaki looked at the two of them. Hearing this, Yamcha and Krillin were startled. They looked over and saw that Hitaki Kusuo had made such a decision. They were stunned for a moment, not knowing how to react. They were willing to accept Hitaki Kusuo's kindness, but they also felt that it might be a little inappropriate. Yamcha asked, "Is this okay?" Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo smiled and answered, "Of course, what's wrong with that? Your combat effectiveness is not strong, so it's the best arrangement to give you the armor. As long as you don't get into trouble, then even if it's a blessing for the whole team, we don't want anyone to drag us down." Seeing this, Yamcha and the others nodded. Then, everyone looked at the protective armors together. Now, their strength is getting stronger and stronger. Hitaki Kusuo didn't know how much Frieza had strengthened during this period of time. Anyway, they already had enough strength to face Frieza. Hitaki Kusuo was looking forward to meeting Frieza formally. That side must be a very meaningful side. Hitaki Kusuo sighed. He waited here, not knowing whether Frieza would also look forward to meeting him. Sometimes, when a mortal enemy grows old, there will be a subtle psychology zero. He will regard the other party as his opponent in life, and always compare each other. This wonderful psychology, Hitaki Kusuo didn't know how to describe it. If Frieza died, he might forget this person soon. Unfortunately, Frieza is the kind of person who is difficult to die. No matter how Hitaki Kusuo kills him, Frieza just can't die, so fighting all the time will produce this subtle psychology. The scene was quiet. Everyone looked at the protective armor without saying a word, and everyone had their own thoughts. Hitaki Kusuo didn't know what they were thinking. Anyway, he was thinking about Frieza. How could he completely kill Frieza? The kind that can't let him be resurrected again. However, Kusuo Hitaki felt that he didn't seem to have grasped this point yet. He didn't know how Frieza was resurrected. If he knew, it would be good to destroy it. Kusuo Hitaki sighed. He was silent. He didn't want to say anything now. He just kept silent. Chapter 594. Now, Yamcha and his friends have obtained the protective armor. However, after wearing the protective armor, Yamcha and his friends didn't know the difference between wearing it and not wearing it. Yamcha made a suggestion. Why not, Sun Wukong, let's fight with you guys now, so as to test the strength of this protective armor and see how much strength it adds to us. When they heard it, Sun Wukong and his friends were stunned. Then they felt that Yamcha's suggestion was very good. After wearing it, they should really try its power. Sun Wukong and his friends immediately nodded and agreed. Okay. Hitaki Kusuo looked at this scene and raised his eyebrows. He did not stop anything. He was also very curious about the result of the game. Next, Yamcha and his friends started fighting with Son Goku, Raditz and his friends. However, even with protective armor on their bodies, Yamcha and his friends were no match for Son Goku and his friends. They were defeated, and Yamcha and his friends felt very disappointed. They were in a low mood. Hitaki Kusuo saw them like this, and he went over to enlighten them. Don't be like this. Different races have different strengths. Saiyans are born to fight. Just now, I saw that you guys have actually become stronger. Believe me. Hearing this, Yamcha and his friends looked up at Hitaki Kusuo. Seeing Hitaki Kusuo say this, Yamcha and his friends were silent. After the silence, Yamcha and his friends sighed and lowered their heads again, still in a low mood. Don't comfort us. If we can't even defeat Son Goku, how can we defeat Frieza in the future? This armor is useless. Seeing this, Kusuo Hitaki comforted. But they do make you stronger, don't they? Sometimes, people don't need to compare with others, they just need to compare with themselves. You are moving forward, your strength is increasing, anyway, it's better than before, that's all. After hearing this, Yamcha and the others listened carefully and felt that it seemed to make sense. Seeing this, they looked at Kusuo Hatake quietly. Kusuo Hatake also looked at them and smiled slightly. At this time, Yamcha and his friends seemed to have finally figured it out. They smiled and answered. Okay. Seeing that they finally figured it out, Kusuo Hatake was also very happy and comforted them. Okay, don't think too much. You have done a good job. It is impossible to defeat Frieza alone. Even Son Goku can't do it. So, if you want to have a protective armor, you can directly defeat Frieza. I suggest you don't have such a beautiful dream. Yamcha listened and smiled. They were just eager to win, but they forgot something, that is, this mentality is not good, it is easy to slip. Yamcha nodded and said. Well, we know, Kusuo Hatake, thank you. Seeing this, Kusuo Hatake just smiled. Son Goku also came over and said with a smile. Don't think too much. Now, you have just put on the protective armor. You will definitely feel uncomfortable at the beginning, but you will slowly adapt to it in the future. In the future, when you adapt, you may become more powerful. Looking at Sun Wukong's comfort, Yamcha smiled. He nodded. Well, I know. You must not be impatient for success. He realized this, so he would not make this mistake again. Chapter 595. With the help of Doctor Who, Frieza quickly recovered. After his body recovered, his father came to see him today. Seeing Frieza, the father said. Frieza, how is your body recovering now? Hearing this, Frieza nodded and answered. Very good, my body has fully recovered. What's wrong? Father, is there anything? The father nodded with satisfaction, patted Frieza's shoulder, and answered. Well, that's good, Frieza, I'm going to attack Namek. If your body has recovered, then join me in the battle. Seeing the attack on Namek again, Frieza was stunned. He thought about it and thought it was good. The last attack failed, and this time it must succeed no matter what. Frieza nodded directly to his father, and he responded. Well, okay, father, I know, I will definitely participate. Seeing this, the father smiled very satisfied. He said. The mysterious doctor transformed your body. Now that it has been transformed, how is your body? Is it stronger than before? Hearing this, Frieza laughed confidently. He answered confidently. Of course it's stronger. I am no longer the same person as before. I am stronger now. I want to impress Kusuo Hatake and others. Seeing Frieza so confident, the father was also very happy. He immediately smiled and said in a good mood. Very good, Frieza, you are really my proud son. Frieza was very happy to hear that his father was proud of him. He smiled and smiled. Next, the two led the team to attack Namek. Their combat power was very strong, much stronger than before. So this time, they were almost invincible. Namek fell quickly, and half of the planet had been destroyed by them. When Piccolo knew about this, he was very angry. However, Kusuo Hatake and the others are not here now. They are on Earth. It takes time to call them back. Piccolo said hatefully. Damn it, I didn't expect that Frieza was not dead. Hatake Kusuo's prediction was correct. What's even more hateful is that Frieza not only didn't die, but after his resurrection, he became even stronger. His body seemed to have been transformed, as if it had become different from before. I think it must have been transformed after this resurrection. Now the resurrected Frieza is even more difficult to deal with. He had always been difficult to deal with before, the kind of cockroach that could never be killed, but now, he has almost become invincible. It is almost impossible to kill him again this time. Piccolo was angry, but also a little helpless. He was distressed. Why was this Frieza so difficult to kill? He was really annoying and didn't want to hear any news about him anymore. However, he always appeared in front of him, always flashing in front of him. The more he didn't want to hear about him, the more he repeated it. Piccolo had already notified Hatake Kusuo. I hope that they can be alert on Earth, because after Frieza destroyed half of Namek, he did not stay any longer. He took the team away. Now, Piccolo does not know where they went, and they are likely to go to Earth. Hitaki Kusuo and the others are on Earth. If Frieza goes to Earth, he will definitely meet with Hitaki Kusuo and the others. Piccolo has no other options, and now he only hopes that Hitaki Kusuo and the others can deal with Frieza. Chapter 596. Hitaki Kusuo has received the message from Piccolo, and he urgently convened an emergency meeting. At the meeting, Hitaki Kusuo said to everyone, Frieza has appeared. I just received the message from Piccolo that Frieza attacked Namek not long ago, causing the destruction of nearly half of Namek. After hearing this, Raditz and the others were all surprised, looking at each other. I never expected that Frieza would finally show up after hiding for so long. I never expected that once he showed up, it gave everyone such a shocking scene. It seems that Frieza did it on purpose. He just wanted to tell the world how powerful he is. It would be better if he didn't show up. Once he showed up, he would be so arrogant, as if he could do everything and was the most powerful person in the world. Hitaki Kusuo looked at the expressions of everyone, and his face was serious. Namek has been destroyed by nearly half. Everyone, you can imagine how much Frieza's combat power has improved after he came out this time. He is already more powerful than before. Seeing this, everyone also noticed this problem. It is indeed not easy to destroy half of Namek in such a short time. Hitaki Kusuo said. Piccolo said that Frieza has left Namek and took the team to an unknown place. I suspect that his next target is the Earth, so you all must be prepared for the battle, because Frieza will attack at any time. Seeing this, Raditz and the others nodded immediately. Raditz and the others were not sure about the current Frieza, so they wanted to hear what Kusuo Hitaki said. Raditz asked. Suo Hitaki, how sure are you about the current Frieza? Seeing Raditz asking this, Kusuo Hitaki remained silent. He thought for a while and answered. To be honest, all of this is what I saw from Piccolo's description. We haven't seen what Frieza looks like. It's better to see it with your own eyes. So, I can't answer this question. We must wait until we see Frieza to have a certain number. Seeing this, Raditz was silent. Not long after the meeting, Frieza and his father really came to the Earth. Frieza knew that Kusuo Hitaki must be somewhere on the Earth. Looking at the Earth, Frieza started to attack directly. His team was invincible and unstoppable. People on the Earth could not resist it at all. After Hitaki Kusuo sensed Frieza's attack, he was shocked. It was impossible to rescue people one by one in such a large-scale battle. Raditz and the others also became anxious and asked Hitaki Kusuo. Hitaki Kusuo, what should we do now? Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo did not say anything. He just frowned and thought about it. After thinking for a while, Hitaki Kusuo thought of it. He used a large-scale medical ninjutsu to protect those innocent people. Hitaki Kusuo also shouted at this time. Go and organize the evacuation of people. Hearing this, Raditz and the others reacted and nodded quickly, and then hurried to organize the evacuation of people. The most hateful thing about Frieza is that he likes to implicate innocent people. Fighting each other, just fight each other. But Frieza can't do that. He insists on attacking those who have no grudges against him. It's really hateful to the extreme. There is no way, he can only find a way to evacuate those people first. Chapter 597. Not only Frieza was attacking, but Frieza's father also launched an attack. Raditz looked at Frieza's father. Through the incident on Namek, he thought of his home planet. His home planet became what it is now because of the attack of Frieza and his son. Raditz really couldn't forgive Frieza and his son. Hitaki Kusuo stood not far away, looking at Raditz standing there quietly. He felt that Raditz was a little wrong at this time. Sure enough, Raditz might be because of hatred. He transformed into a Super Saiyan in an instant, and he rushed up to fight with Frieza's father. Looking at Raditz like this, Hitaki Kusuo was surprised. Raditz couldn't transform into a Super Saiyan freely. He must need external stimulation before he could transform. Now, he might be stimulated. Hitaki Kusuo looked at Raditz in the battle. While he admired the battle, he was actually thinking about one thing. That is, how to grasp that point based on these characteristics. As long as Raditz can grasp that point, he will be able to transform into a Super Saiyan freely in the future, and he will not need external stimulation every time. Such a probability is too risky. If you need to transform into a Super Saiyan, but you can't, it will be terrible, so you must be able to do it freely and at will. After Raditz transformed into a Super Saiyan, he is really amazing. The combat power has increased by more than double the previous one, and Frieza's father is overwhelmed. Frieza's father seems to be caught off guard and the whole state is very chaotic. It seems that Raditz has the upper hand now. Hitaki Kusuo is very satisfied to see such a result. Let's not talk about Frieza for the time being. At least, Frieza's father has someone who can deal with him. If Frieza is dealt with, then those teams will be dealt with. Divide it into small goals one by one, so it will be easy to achieve. Frieza's father fights Raditz. Looking at Raditz who transformed into a Super Saiyan, Frieza's father did not expect that he would become so powerful, completely different from the same person. It was as if he had become a different person. Frieza's father also said during the battle, "Good boy, I never thought you would become so powerful." After hearing this, Raditz sneered and replied, "Do you still remember my home planet? You and your son destroyed my home planet, how could I let you go? I will never let you go. Zero, please give me flowers." After hearing this, Frieza's father said nothing. He understood that it was hatred that blinded Raditz's eyes, so he became so strong. But even if he understood, it would be useless. Because, with Raditz in this state, he could not defeat Raditz, and Frieza's father was beaten back step by step. 0. If he continued like this, he would be defeated. For a while, Frieza's father seemed very anxious, but it was useless to be anxious. At this time, everyone was busy with their own affairs and no one was free to help him. Hitaki Kusuo looked at the results of the battle and was very satisfied. Now, Frieza's father does not have to worry, because someone can control him. All Frieza and his team need to worry about are Frieza and his team. As long as they can control these two sides, then, they can win this battle. Kusuo Hitaki had little confidence at first, but now he is slowly gaining confidence. This battle is not difficult to win. You just need to overcome every small obstacle. Work. Chapter 598. Frieza's father is dealt with by Raditz, while Frieza is fought by Son Goku. Son Goku has already started fighting with Frieza. However, the battle situation on Son Goku's side is completely different from that on Raditz's side. On Raditz's side, Raditz has the upper hand. On Son Goku's side, because Frieza has a brand new armor for protection. Therefore, his strength has increased by more than double, and Son Goku is not Frieza's opponent at all. 050 Kusuo Hitaki looked at this scene, and he was a little anxious for Son Goku. However, he did not blame Son Goku. Frieza is different from his father. After Frieza was resurrected, he became stronger, but his father was still the same, so it was normal for Raditz to defeat his father. Seeing that Frieza has become so powerful now, Kusuo Hitaki is very worried. Who can defeat Frieza in this case? Does he really have to do it himself? Just then, Frieza has launched the Death Beam and the Lightning Eye. When he attacked, Sun Wukong dodged one. However, he could dodge one, but not the second. Seeing that the Lightning Eye was about to attack him, Sun Wukong was also a little anxious, but when he noticed the Lightning Eye coming, it was too late. He had no time to react, and his body could not move so fast. Just when Sun Wukong thought that he would definitely be attacked by the Lightning Eye, unexpectedly, Krillin rushed over in time. He blocked the attack for Sun Wukong. Krillin had armor on his body, so even if he blocked the attack, he himself was not injured. Suo Hitaki watched this scene. He felt very thrilling just now, but now he feels much better and relieved. Finally, everything is fine. His heart is at ease. Sun Wukong was very touched when he saw Krillin resisting the attack. Sun Wukong asked Krillin with concern. Krillin, are you okay? Krillin smiled and shook his head. I'm fine. Seeing this, Sun Wukong was relieved and said with a sigh of relief. That's good, as long as you're okay. Krillin smiled slightly. Frieza looked at this scene. He had stopped attacking and said to the two, Look at you. Now you know how powerful I am after resurrection, right? Hearing this, Sun Wukong and Krillin looked at Frieza Zero. Hitaki Kusuo also looked at Frieza. He said, Frieza, you are really powerful now. It seems that you have made a lot of changes after resurrection. Hearing this, Frieza looked at Hitaki Kusuo and answered, Of course, I have exhausted all my efforts to deal with you, Hitaki Kusuo. Today, I will make you all die here. It was a proud tone. Hitaki Kusuo listened, but did not say anything. Now Frieza has become more powerful, so he is so confident and proud, and it is reasonable. Hitaki Kusuo has been watching Frieza quietly. He was thinking, what method should he think of to deal with Frieza? Hitaki Kusuo has not thought of it for the time being, because the previous method seems to be useless against the current Frieza. The current Frieza has become more powerful. It is also necessary to think of a more powerful method to deal with Frieza, otherwise, it will be useless. Thinking about this Frieza, Hitaki Kusuo felt very annoyed. This indestructible cockroach is really annoying. Every time he appears, he will bring endless disasters. He is simply the embodiment of disaster. Chapter 599. At this time, Hitaki Kusuo spoke in silence. He said it to Sun Wukong. Son Goku. Hearing this, Son Goku looked at him. Hitaki Kusuo said, You go help Raditz and deal with other invaders, I'll deal with Frieza. Hearing this, Son Goku was startled. Frieza looked at Hitaki Kusuo with interest. Hitaki Kusuo also looked at him and said calmly, It seems that it's us who are fighting after all, and we should have a good fight. Hearing this, Frieza 06 snorted disdainfully. Son Goku nodded to Hitaki Kusuo. Yeah, okay. Then, Son Goku left. Watching him leave, Hitaki Kusuo didn't say anything. He just looked at Frieza again, and Frieza also looked at him, and the two looked at each other. Hitaki Kusuo said calmly, Frieza, now, it's our battlefield. Seeing this, Frieza laughed at Hitaki Kusuo with disdain. Don't overestimate your ability, Hitaki Kusuo. You also saw the battle just now, and you know what I have become now. I was unlucky before, and I just happened to be defeated by you. Now, do you think I am still the same as before? Hearing this, Hitaki Kusuo also smiled back. He said disdainfully, Frieza, I know that you have become very strong now, but don't forget that you are making progress, and others are not standing still. While you are growing, others are also growing. Don't think that you are the only one growing. Seeing this, Frieza didn't say anything. He looked at Hitaki Kusuo silently. His face was solemn, because he had just defeated Son Goku, so he was a little too proud. Now, Frieza calmed down. After calming down, he listened to what Hitaki Kusuo said, and then he realized that what Hitaki Kusuo said made sense, and he was indeed too proud of himself. In the past, he was not defeated by Son Goku. So, even if Son Goku has improved. But it is normal that he still defeated Son Goku. On the contrary, his real enemy is Hitaki Kusuo, and he was defeated by Hitaki Kusuo before. Now he has improved. But I believe that Hitaki Kusuo must have improved, so Hitaki Kusuo should not be underestimated. Frieza didn't say anything, he just kept looking at Hitaki Kusuo quietly. The two looked at each other. As Frieza looked at each other, hatred was ignited little by little, because he died last time entirely because of Hitaki Kusuo. If it weren't for his father, maybe his death would have really disappeared. Hitaki Kusuo must be killed, Frieza was so sure in his heart. At this moment, Frieza launched an attack. As soon as he arrived, he launched the strongest attack. He didn't even want to be polite to Kusuo Hitaki, and wanted to kill him directly. Kusuo Hitaki could see that Frieza wanted to kill him. It seems that Frieza really hates him. It's normal. After all, Kusuo Hitaki killed Frieza last time. If his father hadn't resurrected him, Frieza might have died completely in that death. Seeing Frieza directly launch the strongest attack, Kusuo Hitaki didn't show him any courtesy. At the critical moment of life and death, what's there to be polite about? Kusuo Hitaki responded with a death beam, and then collided directly with Frieza's attack force. The two forces cancelled each other out. So, no one was injured. Seeing this, Kusuo Hatake was very satisfied. He could easily resist Frieza's attack. Chapter 600. Looking at Kusuo Hatake, Frieza was quite shocked and questioned. How can you use the death beam? Hearing this, Kusuo Hatake answered calmly. I learned it. It's easy to learn. Don't you know? Hearing this, Frieza didn't say anything, but he was angry, because Frieza learned the death beam so easily. You know, it's very difficult to learn. But he learned it so easily. Frieza's face was solemn. The death beam that Kusuo Hatake learned was very powerful. I didn't expect that he learned it so easily and used it so easily. Kusuo Hatake looked at Frieza like this, and he was a little proud in his calmness. It seems that Frieza seems to be very angry. It's rare. Frieza may not know that he didn't really learn it, but used the character card, so he used the death beam so easily. If he really learned it, it wouldn't be so easy to learn. This is not a simple thing. However, Kusuo Hatake didn't care what Frieza thought, because he didn't want to explain anything to Frieza. It's good enough to defeat Frieza, and there's no need to explain anything else. Frieza said in the eye contact. Kusuo Hatake, it seems that we have to have a real fight. Only in this way can we decide the winner. Diaresis. Kusuo Hatake also agreed with this. He nodded and challenged. Okay, then let's have a real fight. Frieza, this fight will decide our victory or defeat. This time, I must kill you. Last time, I failed to kill you. This time, I must kill you successfully. Seeing Kusuo Hatake so arrogant, Frieza snorted disdainfully. On the contrary, this time, he really wanted to kill Kusuo Hatake, because Frieza had seen that Kusuo Hatake was a nuisance. At least, it was a nuisance to him. He couldn't keep him any longer. Keeping him any longer would only make Kusuo Hatake harmful to him. Only by killing him could he have a wider world. Next, the two started a big fight. Kusuo Hatake used Frieza's character card, so their attacks were the same. Frieza couldn't defeat Kusuo Hatake at all. Of course, Kusuo Hatake couldn't defeat Frieza either. The two fought evenly. Frieza was really angry. It would be fine if Kusuo Hatake learned one death beam. After this battle, Frieza found that Kusuo Hatake learned more than just one death beam. Instead, he learned all his ninjutsu. It was just like a copy of the original. It was too exaggerated. His own ninjutsu was completely learned by Hatake Kusuo. This shocked Frieza and made him angry. He questioned Hatake Kusuo angrily. How did you learn all these ninjutsu from me? Seeing Frieza so angry, Hatake Kusuo fought him evenly while answering. I learned it. No, what do you think? What's so difficult about it? You just think it's difficult to learn. Hearing this, Frieza became even angrier. The ninjutsu he had learned with great difficulty became so easy to learn by Hatake Kusuo. This was too insulting to Frieza. Frieza felt that his dignity was seriously challenged. He was very unhappy and wanted to kill Hatake Kusuo more and more. Only when he died, his own ninjutsu would be returned to him. And